Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Danganronpa. We are beginning the 5th trial. I have some things to say, to vocalize. Monokuma mentioned that a student is writing the rules. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's Mukuro. It could be someone else, and they're just not saying anything. And another thing, if Monokuma is concerned about fairness, why did he spill Kyoko's secret about hiding scars? Doesn't that skew the balance in favor of Makoto and Byakuya, who heard that secret? And another thing, if the mastermind really is Mukuro, why would she leave any trace of her identification? Why? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Usually you would be cautious and erase everything of that. Oh yeah. Kyoko, for the 10 minutes we were waiting for her before the trial, she had access to every single door in the school, and she had 10 minutes alone of me time, essentially, so she could have been doing literally anything in that period of time. I just don't know. I really don't know how to piece this together. Please don't be alarmed if I express some frustration, because this game is seemingly meant to frustrate you. Alright, let's get to it.
If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate.
This background is very colorful. I appreciate it, Monokuma.
Okay, well, I'll leave the rest up to you.
Well then, let's discuss the specifics of the victim. First, we need to clarify who exactly the unidentified victim is.
By method of elimination, because everyone else is alive, it has to be Mukuro, right? Right?
It's Kyoko. There's no other explanation.
Kyoko's standing right there.
But Kyoko's standing right there.
No, that's a ghost.
Shut up, Yasuhiro. I hate you. Like, you're the least interesting and useful character out of all of these people.
But she has legs and stuff.
Well, that's just because she's like the latest evolution in ghost technology.
Can you just stop talking, please? Like, it could be possible, yeah, but is this really necessary?
There's a limit to how much ridiculousness I can tolerate.
Yeah, I feel you.
Okay. So I just have to prove that the corpse isn't Kyoko, right? Then let's compare Kyoko's traits to the traits of the dead body.
Her traits?
One important trait Kyoko has that proves the dead body that doesn't belong to her. Piercing glare.
I got it! I'm talking about her gloves. They'll give us some insight into the mystery. I'm sure of it.
I just noticed my health bar. It's at 10 hearts now. I'm not gonna fail as often. I'm so happy about that.
In that case, I think it would be helpful if someone explained why she actually wears those gloves.
You were there. You heard it.
And would you happen to know the answer?
In fact, Monokuma told me. Apparently you have scars on your hands you don't want anyone to see.
Keep in mind that Monokuma still has access to everyone's secrets.
Oh, you know, now that I think about it, the corpse wasn't wearing any gloves, right?
They probably just got burnt up in the explosion. I'm not convinced. The ghost is just trying to fool us all.
There's no way that corpse was Kyoko, but if I can't prove why, we're gonna be stuck here and the case won't move forward. So I don't have any choice but to tattoo on the right hand, fake nails, exploded body analysis. Okay. What's the exploded body analysis? Explosion burnt the upper half of the body beyond recognition, upper half remained on fire, bottom half remained dry. That doesn't necessarily help me. Fake nails don't necessarily help me either, and tattoo is probably it.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion?
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
I have a feeling it's the fake nails, because how would you wear gloves with fake nails?
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion!
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves.
Yes!
No, that's wrong.
Logic wins again.
No. There's no way the corpse was wearing gloves.
Unless the fake nails were attached after the explosion.
Whoever it was, they were wearing fake nails, remember? I imagine trying to wear gloves over nails like that would have been a pretty big pain. Besides, Kyoko wears gloves to hide her hands, right? It'd be pretty weird for someone who's self-conscious about their hands to wear fake nails, don't you think?
Jeez, man, you don't know women, huh? They're complicated like that.
If anyone doesn't know women, it's you.
Well, Kyoko, any thoughts?
These gloves were custom made to the size of my hands to make sure they don't interfere with my daily life.
Well, there you go.
If I wore fake nails, the gloves wouldn't fit properly.
Fantastic.
Then that's that. The dead body doesn't belong to Kyoko.
Which should have been obvious since she's standing right here.
I feel like there's some validity to Yasuhiro's sentiment, but, you know, I never know what to expect with this game.
Okay, so then, who's the real victim? First, we need to figure that out.
That's the first thing I said. You're the one who's been dragging us around in circles.
Before anything, we have to identify the victim. Everything starts from there.
If Kyoko really is still alive, then who died?
There's gotta be some way to figure it out. I don't think so. The face was scorched beyond recognition. And there wasn't any description in the Monokuma file. Well, if we can't identify the body...
Then there's nothing else we can do, right?
Alright, I think I got it.
If Kyoko really... Then who died?
There's gotta be some... I don't think so. And there wasn't any description... Well, if we can't identify the body...
No, that's wrong. There was one clue left behind that we can use to identify the body.
What? For real?
If you're lying, you'll die a cruel and unusual death.
Listen, if you don't want to doubt me, then you should have inspected the body yourselves.
Cruel and unusual death. This I gotta see.
Okay.
She's just being stupid. Ignore them, Makoto. Tell us what you're talking about.
The key to figuring out who it was is the tattoo on the back of her hand.
Oh, yeah. The design's pretty strange, huh? Is this a dog?
No, it's a wolf.
Her master must have made her get it. To be like, you're my bitch.
Okay, Toko, thank you.
Seriously? They really did something that humiliating?
This is filler conversation, move it along.
No, that's not it. The identity of the victim is hidden within that tattoo.
Oh, really?
What did Aoi and Hiro and Toko do during this entire investigation? It seems like Makoto, Byakuya, and Kyoko really know what's going on, while these three just putz around and do their own thing. If you compare the tattoo to other information we have, the victim's identity should become clear. Fragments? No. Wind the body? No. Knife? No. It's probably the profile. Yeah, it's the profile.
I got it! The Fenrir Mercenary Corps. That's the name of the military group Mukuro Ikusaba belonged to.
Okay, so...
To show that they're a member of the team, each soldier that joins the squad would get a tattoo representing Fenrir somewhere on their body.
Fenrir?
The image that represents Fenrir is... a wolf. Is this really a thing? Okay, sure. Okay, is this really a thing? Sure. Alright, fine. Easy.
Now I understand! The representation of Fenrir is... a wolf.
Fenrir, the Wolf of Ragnarok. It's from Norse mythology. A huge, world-ending wolf beast. He's the child of the trickster god Loki, and a female giant.
Well, that's interesting.
Man, after all this time, we finally got a glimpse of the literary all-star.
A wolf tattoo. And that means...
Exactly. The body we found had a tattoo of a wolf, which means that person must have once belonged to Fenrir. So it must have been Mukuro.
What?
Hold on. Isn't she the one that was behind this whole thing?
Not necessarily.
You sound surprised.
What?
But you're absolutely right.
What? So who's what?
Yes, indeed. The trial this time is to solve the murder of Mukuro Ikusaba.
So she was just hiding somewhere this entire time, came out for 1 second, got murdered. Okay.
Are you saying the mastermind is dead? And now we have to have a cool-ass trial?
No. It means we were wrong in thinking that Mukuro was the mastermind at all.
But I mean, being the ultimate despair seems like a pretty mastermindy title to me.
Maybe we shouldn't have been thinking of her as the ultimate despair in the first place. After all, looking at her profile, I didn't see anything that would fit such a description.
She just has a lust for guns.
All it said was that she was the ultimate soldier. If I remember correctly, that other information came from Kyoko. That's what you told Makoto, right?
Indirectly through a note, but yes. Wait, no, the despair and the soldier, right?
So that means Kyoko got it wrong?
She intentionally told Makoto false information. The reason why, I don't know. Maybe to protect him, I don't know.
And who was she? Who was Mukuro Ikusaba? She's been gone this whole time? And when she finally turns up, she gets killed.
Usually when there's a scene where an important character dies, it has a lot more detail.
So you're saying she wasn't an important character? Which would mean she was the same as us. Just another participant.
So she was here before the 15 others got here?
Then who's the real mastermind?
It must have been the Hope's Peak Academy headmaster after all.
But if it's not Monokuma, who is it? Or maybe Monokuma is the headmaster and we're just overthinking it.
No, the headmaster has nothing to do with it.
But how can we trust that? We already know your information about Mukuro was wrong.
My information was not wrong.
Okay. We're in the middle of a trial right now. Figuring out who killed Mukuro is first and foremost. Please limit all future prattle, chatter, and chit-chat as much as possible.
Fine. Uncovering the identity of the mastermind will have to wait. But remember this. No matter what happens, we will find out who you really are. I stake my family name on it.
Why is that bolded?
I have officially decided to completely ignore all such attempts at provocation. Now then, just so nobody's confused, let me state this one more time for the record. The reason we're having a class trial is because a murder among the students has taken place. Hammer that point straight into your big ol' brains!
What you're saying is that both the victim and the culprit are part of the student body?
What else is he saying?
Then, one of us killed Mukuro?
Wait, no! There's a chance that there's some mystery 17th person who's been hiding all along!
Nope! There are only 16 students in total that have been taking part in these events.
Is this the part where Junko comes back and says, "Yo, I did it, ha 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 ha"?
Seriously? Then one of us killed Mukuro?
Who did it? Who's the killer this time?
Get a hold of yourself. We've already narrowed down the list of possible suspects.
Makoto, it was you!
I'm sure you realize who I'm talking about, right, Makoto? Who the evidence points to?
Based on what we know, there can only be 2 suspects.
I got it! You've narrowed it down to Kyoko and me, right?
Excuse me, it's Kyoko and I hate to be a grammar Nazi at this time, but that really irks me.
Why do you say that?
Allow me to explain. Just after nighttime last night, I went to the garden. So I can confirm that at that point, there was no dead body there. So, the murder must have taken place after I left the garden.
And if Makoto was attacked at nighttime, there's no telling what happened between his attack and the body ending up on the 5th floor in the garden. Why that specific location, and what happened in between.
However, Hiro, Toko, Hina, and I were in the gym the entire time.
The gym?
That's right. The four of us were there trying to dismantle Monokuma.
And Kyoko was inevitably not here for that.
The whole time, we were very careful not to go anywhere alone. We even went to the bathroom in pairs. All of which is to say, the four of us all have alibis. The only ones without alibis
Are me and Makoto. That's why you're able to narrow down the list of suspects.
exactly so.
So the only suspects now are me and Kyoko. Damn it. I can't let this stand. Somehow I have to clear my name.
I have something I'd like to say regarding the whole alibi thing.
Are you thinking of raising an objection?
Well, before that, I just want to try and get a better idea of what time the murder took place. Doing that might reveal some kind of clue.
Whatever you want. Somebody go ahead and help him out.
Me and Byakuya can both confirm that the body wasn't in the garden at...
Wait a minute, I have a timeline here, hang on. So, 10 p.m., Makoto was attacked around that time. I know it's bad to be approximate in these things, but okay, so 10 p.m. Makoto goes to sleep, Byakuya goes to garden, gets Yasuhiro, goes to Toko and Hina's room, and then Makoto, he doesn't respond. 7 a.m. morning announcement, Makoto gets up, 7:30, he goes to meet Hina, that's when the sprinklers go off. 9 a.m. Tokus finds the body, so there's a 2-hour window there.
Well, it was after nighttime for sure. I'd say it must have been around 10 o'clock. So the murder must have happened after 10 p.m.
Then I guess we can say the time frame for the murder was between then and when we found the body? Oh, but what time did we find the body?
The one who saw the body first was Toko, right? And she went to go get the pickaxe.
So what time was the body discovered?
I got it! The body must have been discovered at 9 a.m., since that's when Toko went to get the pickaxe.
He's right. It had to be around then.
So we can be totally sure the murder happened sometime between 10 at night and 9 in the morning.
That's a pretty big window.
For me, I was already asleep before nighttime hit, so I don't have an alibi after 10 o'clock. But I'm sure I met up with everyone else before 9 this morning.
We ran into each other in the dining hall, right? That was around... Oh yeah! Right around 7:30. I remember checking right before I went in, so I'm totally sure about it.
Which means from 10 p.m. to 7:30 a.m., you don't have an alibi.
The murder happened between 10 p.m. and 9 a.m., and I don't have an alibi from 10 p.m. till 7:30 a.m. It looks like the game has begun. If I can't provide an alibi for that period, then I just have to prove the murder didn't happen during the time I don't have an alibi. To do that, I have to make it clear when the body ended up in the garden. Do I know this? Sprinklers. Exploded body analysis.
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think. So Makoto, if you have any objections, now would be the time.
If the body had been in the garden before 7:30, it would have gotten wet. There we go. Alright, I got it.
It took place somewhere between...
No, that's wrong! Actually, the murder couldn't have happened anywhere near 10 o'clock. It had to have taken place way later.
And what makes you say that?
Because of the sprinklers in the garden. The sprinklers are set to go off right at 7:30 every morning, right? So if the body had been in the garden before 7:30, then it should have been completely soaked.
Oh, hold on. I remember this part perfectly.
Good. Tell us.
The body was wet. Dripping wet, in fact.
Sorry, Toko, but you're wrong.
I'm wrong? How? Are you saying only the mouth down south was wet? How dare you spew such indecent words?
What do you... How does that relate to anything in this case?
No, I'm saying that the body was wet, but not because of the sprinklers.
What do you mean by denying the sprinkler? Are you trying to deny my entire existence?
Yes, leave right now.
Man, you're totally wacko.
If you really think it wasn't the sprinkler, you'd better tell us why!
Because the body blew up and was on fire and I had to dump water onto it to extinguish the fire? I need to prove that it wasn't the sprinklers that caught the body wet. Is this really necessary? I suppose you have to cover all the bases and convince everyone. If we look at the body itself, that should make it clear. Oh, a bullet time battle? Yep.
I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! I don't know anything! Hold on! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! I don't know anything! Hold on! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! I don't know anything! Hold on! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no!
Which one? Exploded body?
How can you
Okay.
say what
This should prove it. Just remember what the body was like after the explosion, and you'll see why it wasn't the sprinklers. The top half of the body was wet, yes, but the bottom half was completely dry. If the sprinklers got the body wet, shouldn't the whole body have been wet?
So they only got the top wet? The bottom was completely dry? What a brutal maniac!
Yeah, I know, right? Thanks. Your creative mind is just going nuts at the moment.
I'm so sick of her.
At this moment, I have to agree with you.
Let's just move on. The reason only the top half was wet was because while the body was still on fire, I doused it with water. But only the part on fire, the top half.
Oh, then I guess the sprinklers really didn't do it.
So if the sprinklers didn't get the body wet, then the murder must have taken place
So we've narrowed it down to a 1.5 hour window.
sometime after the sprinklers turned on at 7:30 in the morning.
Why didn't I think of this? My god.
Which means she must have been killed sometime between then and when the body was discovered at 9.
But Makoto's alibi was only missing from 10 o'clock last night to 7:30 this morning, right?
So there's no way Makoto could have done it. I guess you had an alibi after all. Good for you.
What if the garden wasn't the place of murder?
In which case, the only one left without an alibi is Kyoko.
Kyoko's the only one without an alibi, which would mean that Mukuro's killer is... No, I refuse to believe it. Kyoko murdered someone? That's...
I'd just like to say one thing.
Please do.
If you vote for me and I die here, the mystery of this school will stay hidden forever.
You're not saying whether you're the killer or not, you're just... Oh, okay.
Which is why I can't let that happen.
Huh?
So are you saying you're not the culprit?
Of course I'm not. I have no reason to kill anyone.
Yes, there's also the motive that comes into play. Why Mukuro?
This is a trap the mastermind has laid for us.
A trap?
We're this far into the game and now you decide to blame me?
Well, no one has a very apparent motive at the moment, and I can't imagine anyone here killing it without reason. Unless it was in a trance, like Makoto.
Stop wasting time! Stop wasting energy! You really think your little trick is gonna work?
Are you getting flustered?
Shut up, you!
You got it, boss! Shutting up now!
Anyway, Kyoko, you actually did have a reason to kill her.
Huh? She did?
She thought Mukuro was the ultimate despair. In other words, the mastermind behind everything. So she killed her to try and put a stop to all this. Isn't that right, Kyoko?
If Kyoko wanted to kill her, she would have done a better job of covering it up. She wouldn't have laid the body out in the garden for everyone to see, and then rigged it.
But you made one catastrophic mistake. Mukuro wasn't the mastermind at all. And as a result, we were forced into another trial, something I'm sure you weren't at all expecting.
So, that was her motive?
If she had a motive and no alibi, well then, I think it's pretty clear Kyoko's gotta be the culprit.
Not necessarily.
I'm not the only one without an alibi. Makoto's explanation is still insufficient.
Huh?
The sprinklers didn't get the body wet, but that doesn't mean the murder happened when he said it did.
What are you...
Because you see, there is a way the body
The
could have
tarp.
avoided getting wet.
The tarp. The body was covered with the tarp, got dirty, the tarp was taken off. But what? Why? Why?
Interesting. I'm listening.
All it would take is covering the body with a certain something to keep it from getting wet.
A certain something at the scene was used to cover the body. Gee, I wonder.
I got it!
What do the chickens have to do with anything?
You're talking about the tarp, aren't you?
What did the...
You catch on quick.
Thanks, dude.
You're right. All you'd have to do is cover the body with the tarp, and that'd take care of the water. In fact, that's exactly what the killer did. The dirt pattern on the tarp can attest to that. Only one side of the tarp got dirty, because that's the side that got covered in water. The side that faced down over the body, meanwhile, kept perfectly clean. This proves that the killer used the tarp to keep the body from getting soaked.
But why would they go to all that effort just to keep the body from getting wet?
I'm still curious about the placement of this body. It's right in the middle of the garden, and limbs all splayed out. The body was rigged with a bomb. Who would have had the capability to rig it with a bomb? Mukuro has military background knowledge, so it could have been her?
Most likely so they could cloud the issue of when the murder actually took place. In other words, to create an excuse exactly like the one Makoto just gave us.
Why would Kyoko say that? Why would she want to make me look like the killer? No, I can't think about that right now. That tarp. If it was used the way Kyoko said, the tarp must have touched the body, right? But the body...
Wait. Something's not right.
The knife.
And what might that be?
I can't worry about Kyoko's motivations. If I don't do something, everyone's gonna think I'm the killer. And the protagonist can't die at this point. I have to refute what Kyoko said.
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side is because the sprinkler got that side wet.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from the water. Since it was facing down toward the body, of course it didn't get dirty.
By covering the body, the killer prevents.
So the reason that is because the spring, but the underside, it was totally. It's because that side,
Since it was facing down toward, of course it didn't get dirty.
Ah, okay.
No, it's wrong.
I understand now. Alright. Yeah,
Actually,
because
one side being clean is pretty strange if you think about it.
the blood stain.
Because the blood wasn't dry before the body got blown up, right? Byakuya said it himself. Not to touch it, or you might get some on you. If you put a tarp on a body in that state, it absolutely would have gotten blood on it.
Well, maybe the culprit washed it, so nobody would know they'd used it.
Alright, after that spectacular series of failures, I think I'll cut it here. I know it's a bit abrupt, but I have to stick to my timelines. Thank you very much for watching. That was Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. The 5th trial is still ongoing. The game is available on Steam and the Vita for $30. The sequel, Goodbye Despair, is also available on Steam and the Vita for $30. Please pick them up because they are... well, they're an experience, alright? Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time. Toodaloo.